I'm excited about this video because we're going to be talking about anxious children. I get a lot of questions about how to help our anxious toddlers or preschoolers through their fears and how to do it in a way that empowers them and doesn't just provoke more fear. Because I feel like let's have a discussion about this, but I feel like most parents, when our child is anxious, and myself included, right, I feel this urge too. When they have a fear, we feel it is our responsibility as their parents to make them feel better and to make the fear go away. So oftentimes we'll be like, no, there's nothing to be afraid of. You don't need to be scared. And I know it comes from a great place, right? Because, it is our jobs to keep our children safe. And a part of that is wanting them to feel safe. But here's the thing. I think first things first in this whole anxiety topic is we must be clear on our role and our responsibility as parents. What is our role when they present an anxiety to us? Is our role to fix their feelings and make it go away? No. So our role is to help them manage their feelings, because here's the thing. Anxiety and fear is universal, right? We all experience this to some degree every now and then. Now, of course, if your child has anxiety that appears chronic, like they're scared of multiple different things, and try my tricks that I offer today and keep doing your research and reading. If you feel like nothing is really working, then yes, there does come a point where reaching out for more support, somebody who can actually come and see your child and assess them, is going to be important. So just caveat there, right? But in terms of our role when it comes to our child's anxiety, it's to help them manage it, right? To help them think about their fears a little bit differently, to help them feel more empowered to confront their fears, to develop tolerance to be able to sit in that fear, in that anxiety, in that anxious state, right, for longer periods of time before, acting impulsively or making poor decisions, right? To calm our bodies and our minds down so that we can think rationally, right? Those are all in the, umbrella of helping our child manage their feelings. So we're not in the business to eliminate their feelings, because here's the thing. If our child is experiencing something, let's say fear, and we come from a place of, no, I need to fix it. I need to tell you that it's not true and that you shouldn't be feeling this way. They're going to be confused because they're like, no, wait, I'm feeling this fear. Like, I have this in my body. And oftentimes anxiety is manifested in our bodies, right? And our body goes into the stress state. So they're going to have this experience of fear. And then they're going to have you telling them that they don't need to be afraid. And the two are not going to be aligned, right? And what that causes is more confusion. And they feel like they're not being heard. They're not being seen, right? They're not being validated. So you want to lead with validation. And validation doesn't mean that we are agreeing with it, right? Like, validation doesn't mean we agree with the feeling or that we're experiencing it ourselves. It just means that we can see it for what it is and we're not trying to change it. So you want to lead with validation, but then you want to be careful, right? It's a balancing act, right? Because you don't want to encourage them to avoid their fears. So what the balance becomes is letting your child and encouraging your child and empowering them to confront their fears in ways that feel more manageable to them, right? Because we don't want to flood them, right? And be like, okay, I can't let you avoid, so I'm just going to flood you with this experience. No, we don't want to do that, because that's going to lead to more anxiety. So the art of it all is to do it in gradual, very manageable ways. And let me tell you guys a story to kind of bring home this point. And I'll, because as a mom, I have two children. They're constantly bringing fears to me, right? They're constantly telling me how they're feeling, and that's great, right? So it's about knowing how to navigate it. So let me tell you a quick story about my oldest one, Jalea. She had a bath phobia. All of a sudden, like when she was, I think 1 or 2, maybe around 1, where all of a sudden she did not want to go in the bath. She didn't even want to look at the bath. She didn't want to be near the bath. It was extreme fear of the bath, and she couldn't explain why, and I didn't understand why. But here's the good thing: we don't need to understand the why of it. We just need to help them through the fear itself. So what I did is I gradually exposed her to the fear that she was having in ways that were manageable for her. So what that looked like is we would read books about bath time. We would talk about bath time. I bought her a doll set, right, where there was a doll and a bath and some soap and other little, play figurine things that resembled bath time, like shampoo and conditioner and all that. And we would role play giving Dolly a bath, right? And talking about it, and Dolly would be scared of the bath and not want to go in, and she would confront her fears, and she would try it, and she'd realize, oh, it wasn't that scary, and actually she enjoyed the bath, right? That was the whole story. So you want to develop the story around bath time that's very similar to the story that your child is having, and show how that person is overcoming their fears, okay? And I encouraged her to give Dolly a bath and reinforce like the positives of taking a bath, right? And making it fun. Then we brought Dolly upstairs and we played with the doll in the bath. Not in the bath, in the bathroom. And then we gradually I think it took like a couple days. So over a couple days, we're slowly going to the bathtub. And then all of a sudden she's sitting in the bath. There's no water, but there's her and her dolly, and they're playing, right? And then I was like, okay, let's add a little bit of water. That's where she got scared, right? And I was like, okay, we can turn it off, no worries, right? So there's where I'm reading her cues and I'm slowing down, but I'm still encouraging her to stay in the bathtub, right? So, okay, we'll just do a little bit of water, no worries. Okay. We'll just take off, our pants. We don't need to take off everything. And so it's very gradual. So you're reading her cues, acknowledging the fear, and then acting accordingly, right? But still encouraging her to be exposed to the fear itself, right? I'm not saying, okay, we don't ever need to take a bath, right? That's not practical. And it wouldn't work. And it would just increase her anxiety, right, over time, right? Because the more we avoid, the more our anxiety is like, oh yeah, we're keeping ourselves safe, right? We're validating that fear. So you don't want to avoid and encourage too much avoidance, but you also don't want to flood them and make them feel too scared, right? And like they feel unsafe, and that you're not listening to them, right? So it's a balance. But over time, I tell you this story to tell you that over time she did accomplish what's the word that I'm looking for? She met her fear, and she was able to conquer her fear, and it never happened again. And it was just like this weird fluke, this stage that she went through, and it was very cool to walk her through that process, right? As her mom, I work with clients about this, but it's different when you're actually doing with your own child. And so I invite you guys to think about whatever your child is afraid of, whether it's, we're close to Halloween, probably when this video goes up. We will be after Halloween, but if it's the decorations, if it's loud noises, if it's monsters, what you also want to do is encourage them to explore the fear, right? And investigate why they feel what they feel, and then investigate, is it real or not? So for example, recent example, again, bringing back to my daughter, she thought that a coat in her closet was a monster. And she was talking about monster, whatever. And so we're talking about, okay, what's making you feel afraid? And she's like, there's a monster in my closet. And then she was like, yeah, over there. Oh, I thought it was a monster, but it was a shirt, right? And we're like, wow, good job investigating, right? And really chasing down what you felt afraid of and really figuring out if it's true or not. And so you want to encourage them to constantly be exploring it. So if it's the vacuum, for another example, if they're scared of the vacuum, then you'll turn off the vacuum and keep it unplugged, and you'll show them pictures of the vacuum, and you can talk about it in books. Then you'll show them the actual thing, right? So you're doing this very gradually in ways that are manageable for them, and then you let them explore the vacuum and let them turn on the noise and then turn it off, right? So what you're doing is you're empowering them, you're equipping them to feel more in control control of the process, but they're still meeting their fears, right? You're validating that they feel afraid of that loud noise, and then you're encouraging them to take it a step further and really confront the fear and explore it, right? So some other tips when it comes to anxiety is read books all about feelings, and you can focus on books that specifically talk about anxiety and fear, like the When You Are Brave or Anxious Ninja. I'll include some links of some good children's books down below. I'm kind of blanking out on the other ones. There's The Color Monster, In My Heart, a book about feelings. So there's so many great books out there. Start reading them, start talking about the feelings and the wide range of feelings, and you know, when people feel certain feelings and why, and start talking about feelings throughout the day. That's your best bet in helping them have a good feelings vocabulary and really understand their fears a lot more. And then also you'll be modeling for them how to talk about their feelings and how to communicate their needs, right? And then you want to teach them really good mantras. So I'm always telling them you are brave, and now my little one, she's starting to say I'm a superhero, I have superpowers. So you want to constantly be uplifting them with those messages of bravery, of conquering their fears, and really thinking of things differently, right? And not to say that fear is bad, right? Or that nobody ever feels it, because that's not true. But we can still be brave, right? In the face of fear. And that's where the empowerment comes. And then also, along those lines, establishing really good coping skills for when they do feel those feelings of anxiety and fear, right? Because our body goes into stress response mode and it's hard to think. And so equipping them with coping skills like deep breathing. Happy to do more videos on how to actually teach these skills. Let me know in the comments if that's something that interests you, but teaching them how to do deep breathing and visualization, how to integrate their senses and do like tactile things like playing with Play-Doh or putty or slime, listening to music, smelling things, you know, ways to engage their senses and add things that they can do in the face of fear, right? So if they're afraid at night, the question then becomes, well, what can you do to help yourself feel better, right? You want to constantly be asking them and inviting them to think about what they can do when they feel afraid. So not only can they investigate and look more into their fears and conquer them that way, but they can also do things within themselves to calm their bodies down so that they can think more clearly. And then, you know, getting back to the basics, if your child is struggling with a lot of anxiety, and especially now we're coming into the holiday season, right? Things are hectic, things are stressful. It's easy to forget about the basics. So when I talk about the basics, it's like making sure they're getting a good enough amount of sleep, right? Checking, you know, do a quick Google search with your child's age and check how much sleep they should be getting during the night, and if they're taking naps as well, and making sure to stay up on that, keeping really solid routines throughout the day, making sure they're eating a lot of good healthy foods, getting a lot of great exercise, that they're getting a lot of playtime, unstructured playtime, outdoor playtime, one-on-one playtime with you, all that good stuff, right? Really going back down to the basics to make sure that those things are, those basic needs are being met, because a lot of the times children can look like they're feeling a lot of anxiety, and they are feeling a lot of anxiety, but it manifests in their behaviors, right? And more acting out, and more resistance, and more power struggles, and more tantrums, and more crying, because it's a manifestation of stress. So making sure to, you know, tap into that and alleviate some stress when you can will go a long way in overall just making them feel less anxious and more settled and more safe in their environment. That is it for this video. I truly hope it was helpful in getting you thinking about ways that you can show up for your little one when they're feeling anxious. Leave any other questions you have down below so I can make another video about this. Don't forget to thumbs up this video if you got any value from it. Subscribe to my channel, and make sure you download your free parenting bundle. It comes with a bunch of checklists all on how how to handle the most difficult parenting moments like tantrums and aggression and not listening. So link will be in the description if you want to download your free bundle. And that is it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.